So what are we about to do here?
Well, we're gonna get really navigational with it. We're gonna actually do like all the things all at once that'll help create a user interface to navigate an application.
And navigation encompasses what?
Okay, so if you were just to put things on your phone and just touch wherever you wanted to do certain things, your users would be lost because they have certain patterns about how they've been using things. So you want to allow someone to maneuver around the different things of your app in a way that they understand from either previous experience or from the cues that you're actually laying out for them.
Got it. So you're accessing their established patterns of behavior and trying to adapt and adjust for them before you actually see them use your app, trying to figure out how they might use it. Yeah.
And it's really important, especially with mobile applications, right? This is a very, very personal device that you have with you. And you don't really want to start trying to make things new to people until you have a reason to break the old rules.
Okay. So tell me about this tabs adapter you're creating here.
Okay. So this thing's pretty cool. So it's kind of like, remember how we have the list adapter? Mm-hmm. So this is like that, but instead of using rows and putting it in a list, we're actually just going to be having like a tab navigation at the top, and it's going to swipe between different fragments. So you can either select which one you want at the top, or you can kind of, you've seen those applications where you swipe left and right to get to the next page. So this will handle that for us.
Okay.
And so I think it's really cool because when you actually make that step to make your application use fragments, this is one of the easy ways to kind of flip between them in a way that's really easy for the user to navigate.
Got it. So it really empowers you to use fragments.
Yes, absolutely. And so here we're normally you wouldn't just kind of label them the way that I'm doing there with a string array, but it's fine for
how would you do it normally?
Normally, you would want to do that kind of single responsibility thing. You'd want the tab names to possibly come from the fragments themselves. Because right now, if I end up switching out a different fragment there, I have to now switch something here. Like the fragment should kind of do all the different things. But it's also really easy if we're just doing 3 little tabs. Mm-hmm.
That was cool. You just put a little backslash in there.
Yeah, I was just kind of real quick.
Yeah, just to see if people are paying attention. Mm-hmm. So a switch statement. Yeah, this is going to be the thing that just basically says, which fragment are we wanting to return. So just in the same way that we had like a get view for list items or for a list adapter, here we're doing, we're actually going to get a whole fragment. Mm-hmm. So we're not actually creating the fragment in the activity. We're creating it to be instantiated here in the tab adapter. And so you have a case for each fragment.
Yeah. Can you see how they go together there? The first, second.
First what?
Well, I called them first and second and third fragment.
Oh yeah. Your naming system was, while not original, was useful, utilitarian.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to confuse people because it's case 0 return first fragment. Is that off by one thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're probably used to that by now.
I think they are.
I hope they are. All right. If they get the joke, then they're probably used to it.
Was it a joke? I don't think it was funny enough to be a joke.
Off by one error?
Yeah.
Always funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Off by one error is always funny. Off by 2 errors, not funny.
No. That means you should just go home.
Yeah.
It's getting late.
You
clearly have making too many mistakes. Right. Literally. Too many mistakes.
See, now that was a joke. I like that one. So here we're just doing the normal kind of setting things up, connecting our activity with the different pieces that we're going to need. So that view pager thing is cool, but also a pain. It's a pain.
Yeah, I thought it was a pager.
No, it's let me tell you why it's a pain.
Okay.
View pager is we don't actually see the import statements up here, but view pager is not from like the latest Android SDK. It's from the old support SDK, and I know it looks like I just coded this like really smoothly,
However, it's really easy to get stuck and to import the wrong fragment or use the wrong get action bar piece because there's, again, this support library. So if you were to like try to generate this on your own from Android Studio's kind of default template stuff, you're going to get very wildly different code than what you see me typing here. So this one is kind of geared like to just get the concept down. But if you wanted to make something that worked like on older devices and stuff like that, the code would look really confusing.
You'd have to do some modifications.
Yeah. So one of the things I did give them, though, just in case, is the start code that they have for this. I left the old import statements in there, so they'll accidentally import the correct thing and not get confused about it.
Got it. Excellent. So now you're on the action bar here, lines 41, 42. You're doing some setters.
Yeah. So that's basically turning on this kind of navigation mode. I
like that
tabs.
Navigation mode.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're entering a whole new mode.
We are. We're making navigation happen.
And the navigation activity extends.
Navigation.
Now we can't see it.
Yeah. It was. You're probably looking at actually what I was implementing.
Yeah.
I was doing a tab listener.
Okay.
Action bar dot tab listener.
Right. And a tab listener listens for tabs?
Listens for, when you say that you're a tab listener, that means that you'll respond to the events with those particular method signatures of tabs being selected, etc.
Okay. And tabs is a word that Android SDK uses, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like you just made it up.
No, it's actually a class inside of Action Bar, and you can see it right there. Action bar dot new tab.
So you create a new tab?
I create a new tab, and I'm using a little bit of that train wreck code, but kind of separating it out so it's more readable.
Right.
Because not only do you have to have the tab, but you have to what will actually be displayed to the user. You got to have that in there too. But yeah, this stuff is like really, really cool because again, it's so simple to now just kind of quickly make a huge menu for your fragments without having to code in all like the swiping stuff and all the animation, like all that like really complicated drawing and gesture recognition just done for you. And that's really more of a function of View Pager, but yeah.
So what comes next? You've added the tabs.
I've added the tabs.
And now we have the View Pager. On page change listener?
Yeah, that's a new one, huh?
Yeah.
Still the same like listener kind of thing.
But from the description, I'm guessing that something changes, but page is new. I've not seen page before. We've got tabs, we've got a View Pager.
You can see that I'm having a really hard time typing it because I can't get the autocomplete to work. There we go. Notice V4 View Pager. So this is going to be the remember when I told you not to ask me about that thing? Yeah. This is that thing.
Okay.
So what it is the View Pager is actually going to be the thing that listens for the events of actually changing what the page is. So you're going to have events where a user selects an item from the tab, but they can also swipe, right? Left and right. And so we have to provide hooks for both of those actions.
Okay. But page is, again, the Android word. How is it different from the other things?
What other things specifically?
Tabs. How is a page and a tab different? How is a fragment and a page different? Like what is page actually referring to?
Right. Well, I wouldn't think of it as a page or a tab for a moment. I would say like let's think of them as fragments.
Okay.
And now we want to navigate between our fragments in different ways. Maybe we want to select which of the three fragments we want, or maybe we want to just like swipe left and right. So the idea of selecting one of those from a menu up top, that's a tab.
Okay.
The idea of swiping to get a different fragment. That's a page.
Okay.
So they're both just fragments. It's just
page is kind of, you're kind of looking at it from the user's perspective.
Well, they're different classes, and one. Tabs are clearly tabs,
right?
But you could have a tabless view pager, right, where you don't have any selection up front or up at the top. So they just came across as different words.
Okay, I'm just trying to unpack that nomenclature, because I think page would be, for me at least, is associated with like web page or page of a book. So I'm getting a little stuck on that. Right.
I don't know how to unstick you on that. The view pager just has a concept of really moving between views. As when you select a tab, it switches views. In this case, it's actually doing a whole view group and controller. So in this case, like a fragment. But there really isn't like a concept of pages so much as there's a concept of paging, right? Like to change, like to page through something.
Okay. Okay, that helps, to page through something.
Yeah,
that helps.
And so here we're doing what I hope they have is second nature now, right? We want to always make sure we get our view through the onCreateView method in our fragments, not like in activities where we can do all that stuff in onCreate. So here's a perfect example where like I'm setting the text view to be the name. Really, we should get our tab name from these fragments as well, but easier to see this way. And look at this. Bam, just coded that one up so fast. You like
I
that?
didn't even see you type.
I just did it at lightning speed.
So this is actually one of those few places where you can cut and paste. Although you failed to rename it.
Oh, no, I'm checking for it.
There we go. Now I think you see it.
I'm just verifying. Yeah. So the general rule of thumb for copying and pasting is if you want to move some code around that is yours, you can copy and paste. If you are reading someone else's code on the internet, you do not copy and paste.
If you've written it yourself, I guess the only other option would have been since you have to do this 3 times. Because usually 3 times is when you start to think about, okay, maybe I should just make something else more modular that I can just implement here. And
here you could actually. We could just use one fragment to represent each of those. But that would be confusing visually for them to learn to code, because normally each of these fragments would have different things. But yeah, in general, like if you paste something 3 times, you did something wrong. You could have refactored that.
Right. Now I noticed when you scrolled over to the actual app view. Wait, what are you doing here?
I probably lost it. I'm probably just going to randomly delete files now.
I've seen you do that before, but
no, I'm kidding. What I'm doing here is I'm showing us how I'm going to take this zip file that is design icons. You can get it on the Android website, and in it has a bunch of action bar icons. And I'm going to show you basically how to add those to your project. So here I'm going into the theme that I want, and you just take the directory that you want, and it already has the drawables. So
this gives them something to play with.
Yeah. So if you copy it like the way that I'm doing, right, where I'm going to copy the whole thing, apply to all, and say merge.
Merge. So it just adds the files that they have into yours.
Yeah. See, it added IC action good. It added it to all the right folders. So I didn't have to move that stuff around.
Nice.
And sure enough, there it is. They all pop up.
Nice. They're red because
that's a Git thing.
Oh, okay.
I don't think we've even mentioned Git to them yet.
No, that just means they're going to be tracked.
Okay. Oh, you meant the files, not them. We're not tracking them.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Well, we are tracking them. I watch, how far they've gotten.
Oh, that's true. You do.
Yeah.
How are they doing?
They could be doing better.
Really?
Yeah.
Guys, you are disappointing me.
If they've gotten this far, then that's good.
Okay.
But they should probably work a little harder.
I am reappointed. Isn't that the opposite of disappoint?
I don't think it is, but
if I was disappointed and then suddenly I was not that, wouldn't I be appointed?
Think unappointed and appointed.
I see.
Disappointed and satisfied.
Ah, okay. Well, I'm satisfied.
Good.
So this is how you add the action bar piece. Notice right there that we're seeing the word, and that would normally pop up with the 3 little dots when you press in the upper right corner. I'm going to use that thumbs up good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there you can actually kind of just see it rendered, how the action bar will actually show up. There's one more thing I'm forgetting. Let's see if I remember. No, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna have to come back to that.
Yeah, I think you missed something.
Yeah,
only because you told me.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Yeah. Well, what I missed was when you have the action bar. People have all these different layouts of Android phones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you actually have to specify whether or not you definitely want that icon to show up, or can Android stuff it in a menu, because these are very commonly used elements. So you have to actually specify, how you want that stuff to behave.
Right.
And they've seen these two methods in pretty much every project that we've had so far. Finally, by the way, this is what they're for. That's for dealing with the action bar.
On option item selected.
And I'm just going to toast out a little message.
Give the user some feedback.
Give the user some feedback, yeah. For instance, the feedback could be, hey.
Do you often use toasts for just kind of testing things out?
Oh, yeah. I love it for testing because it's like one line of code and it just looks so good.
Yeah. Feels good to get that feedback. Yeah, I got the toast I wanted.
Yeah.
Not too hot. Not too cold, not too dark.
Yeah, and on top of that, you can have it with or without butter.
You can, but there's really only one way to have it.
And what way is that?
With butter.
Oh, I see.
Lots of butter.
Lots of butter. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I kind of now want to make like a toast, like extend toast, to have like buttery toast and have it do some more stuff besides just words.
Okay. When are you going to get to
that? Probably never.
Okay. So maybe that could be something our community of learners does.
That would be amazing if someone were to make toast even
butter.
Cooler. Yeah, toast with butter. Have some little bit of animation in there, and yeah. Okay, here we go. Check it out. Notice there is no thumbs up. It's inside that little menu, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it works, but that's because the view XML isn't actually saying, "Hey, you have to have this one showing."
Got it. So this is what you go back to fix?
Yeah. And I'm like, what was it again? Oh, right. Show as action always or never, or with text. You actually have to specify that. So I'm going to say, show it, if you have room.
If there's the space to do it.
Yeah. Then
go ahead.
Do it. I actually highly do not recommend doing always.
Show always?
No, never do show always.
Never do show always.
I mean, that's just a good kind of...
Okay, now here I have a question.
Yeah.
Why'd you put the first, second, and third fragment up at the top when the thumbs of a normal user are kind of down at the bottom?
It's part of the Android design pattern. When you look at settings on your app or anything like that, that's where tabs go. So that's where an Android user is first going to look for them.
Interesting. So even though mechanically it would be better to put them at the bottom, conventionally Android has them at the top, so that's what you chose.
Yeah. The words for these are patterns and anti-patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of an anti-pattern in the sense that we do it, it's not necessarily the best place to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, especially for the size of phones nowadays at their screens.
Yeah.
It would make a lot more sense to have navigation lower and at the bottom. But, historically, most of these things are coming out of Google. And Google's been historically what? A web company. Yeah. So they have gone with those patterns as being similar to what people expect from a web page and web page navigation. So again, in Android, you should put things at the top to navigate until you have a really good reason that you can say, you know what, my app is going to be so cool and I'm going to put stuff at the bottom because it's going to be really clear to the user and I really want them to navigate quickly. Until you really have reasons to do those things, you should stick with what is currently the design methodology.
Okay. This get action.
The one that I
finger up
forgot to turn into a method.
Yeah, well, clearly you still need to do that. But what's with the finger up?
Oh, okay. So this is cool. So this is now we're dealing with the actual on-touch listeners for just pure touch. So I'm taking a view and I'm putting a on-touch listener in it. And what's going to happen is the view that was touched in this motion event object is going to be passed in. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to make like your own custom anything, like let's say you want to make like a drawing program, right? This is how you can now look at just raw touch events. And you can do this for any view as well. So here I'm just showing you kind of how to look for, the finger going down and the finger going up. Mm-hmm. But the next time we're gonna do something even cooler. We're going to look at actually getting the actual X and Y coordinate of the view on the screen.
I was so excited, I think I spilled my drink on myself.
Oh, well, yeah, you did. Mm-hmm. So anyway, here we're actually going to do that more specific coordinate system.
And by more specific, you mean Cartesian?
Yes. And notice where the X and Y are. Like, where would you think 0, 0 would be?
The center of the screen.
Really? You would do it all in radians? You just like to think in circles?
Well, I was a math teacher.
Okay.
So the center is, then you have quadrants and you do all that. So that's what I would have related to.
Oh, well, you actually can do that. You can convert it into do that. So if you like to think that way, which I don't think anybody else really likes to.
Yeah.
But if that's the way you like to think, you can totally do that. But no, that's actually not really.
Top left?
Top left would be a good guess.
Okay.
So where would 0, 100 be for you?
That would be to basically the middle of the top of the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see where you end up here.
Okay.
And so here we're just getting like the raw X and Y. For a move event. Mm-hmm. You got to be careful with that return at the end there too. That return false. It's got to be changed.
Because
what that says is whether or not this particular method is swallowing the touch.
Okay.
You basically need to return. The reason why these things are Booleans is you have to say whether or not you responded to that event or not. If you don't, then you're gonna change what you get told, and other views are gonna change what they get told. Basically, there's views that could be in front of views, so you have to be able to say like, "Oh, I'm the button." Don't someone didn't press the background. If you don't want it to like fall through the whole view hierarchy.
Got it. So there you gave the little Y.
Yeah.
Or not Y as in the letter, but
no, Y as in
the reasoning behind your shift from false to true.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what you got.
Let's see how close you came.
Second fragment, third fragment. Tab navigation works. Now you've
finger
touched
down,
it.
Finger up.
Okay.
You can't see my fingers, but I did actually push them down.
Right. And now you're measuring.
So I have to kind of get it in the middle so the view pager doesn't trigger it. But look at that. You can even go negative. Top left. You're right. Top left is 0, 0.
So top left was 0, 0.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they should still change it to the center, but I'm fine with that.
All right.